All right, so this is part 2 of our demonstration. Now we're going to go over some knots. We're going to first start with my favorite knot, which I use often. It's called the Clove Hitch. So the Clove Hitch is very simple. I'll show you how I do it, and you could adapt to that as well. So you make 2 loops. Now what's important about this is you notice first the loops, the ends are on the opposite sides. So for example, if you notice, it's my left hand, it's going off the back, my right hand's coming off the front. Now if I did it the same way and I put them together, it actually makes nothing. I can just pull it through my hand, which we don't want. Right? Of course, if your client's on the end of that, they're not having dinner tonight. So how we do this now is we're going to make 2 loops. The loops are going to be coming off the opposite ends. So my right hand comes off the rear, my left hand comes off the rear, right hand comes off the front. Now what's important here is I'm going to put them behind each other here because now they're twisting in the center. If you see that, they're twisting in the center, and that makes a clove hitch. Let's test it out. Let's put it here on the carabiner, close the carabiner, and now let's tighten and see. So that's a clove hitch. Next one is going to be the Munter Hitch. This is a very, very important knot. So it's the same setup as the clove for me, basically. What I do here is I do that same setup. Now instead of crossing it, which I would do for the clove here, I just put it together. I just fold the book, and then I put it on a carabiner like so, and of course let's give it a little test. Let's pull it, let's see if it feeds. Let's pull the other way so you can see it here. All right, looks like it's doing fine. Okay, so that's the clove hitch, that's the Munter Hitch there. Muling the Munter now. So we're going to do now, one more time, a quick clove, pull the book. Now we're going to use our imagination that our client is on this rope here. Our client's on this side, and we're holding this. So the client's pulling out slack. We're letting the client go down the hole here. We're going to do some Muling diving. He's going, and the client's just gassed out. We have to now create a rescue system. So what we could do, the best thing to actually do, there are a few ways to do this, but the best that I find is Muling the Munter. There are a few ways to do this with a carabiner just in the mule, or carabiner in the munter here, holding certain strands, or putting a roll and lock on the working line here. So let's just mule the munter. So I'm going to let this go for a moment to demonstrate this properly. Climber line here, your line here. So I'm going to take a bite. Now, of course, you're never going to let go of this line. This is to the life of your climber. So you never want to let go when you're doing this because they would die. So you have to, I'll do it how I would typically do it. So what I would always be holding on to this, I kind of pull behind. Now of course this is fully taut. So I'm going to take a bite of rope while I'm holding this. I'm going to take a bite of rope and then put it through. I'm still holding this like that. And now I pull, and now usually the client's line will tighten it. It will cinch it tight. Right, so the client's line will be doing this. The mule will be tightening, as you can see here. Now that's kind of how it would look very quickly because it would be under so much tension from the person's weight. And they wouldn't be going anywhere now. I could pull as hard as I want and nothing happens. Now the final step of this is make sure you have enough slack. What you're going to do is make an overhand knot. So just put it back under, and then over and through. Now this overhand knot, you want it cinched up against the mule as hard as you can get it. And now that is a muled munter, right? So if I pull on this line, this is a line that client's on, the line's going nowhere. And now you can be hands-free and you can work on this line, as we said before, to put on a mechanical vented system. But wait, there's one last thing I want to show you. So I want to show you a figure 8 on a bite. So this is one of the most important knots that I use all the time. So you just have a bite of rope, you want to make a figure 8 on it. Okay, so just let me demonstrate an overhand first. In overhand, I just go under and then through and pull, right? So this is an overhand. It's an overhand knot. I don't recommend this. One, because it's super hard to get out, but many people use it. I've used it before, but I prefer the figure 8. Okay, so a figure 8, I'm going to take this bite, I'm going to go under, I'm going to wrap, instead of going through here, I'm going to wrap it back around again and then go through the back. Okay, now if you look at it kind of for a second, you start to see the 8 here. Right here's the 8. Now if you notice, this is a very dirty knot. So if your knots turn out like this, it's time to clean your knot. So how do we clean? So let's, for example, look at, we can choose a strand. So you can either start at the top or start at the bottom. Let's just, for purposes of this demonstration, start at the bottom. I'm going to do the outside strand on the bottom. So I'm going to follow that and see where it's twisted. So follow it around. Looks like it's twisted right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is going to grab it and then put it under. So it's not twisted there anymore. And let's see how it turns out now. All right, so let's look. So 2, 2, 2, not twisted. 2, 2, 2, not twisted.